Hello, my name is Sherry Moss, your love coach, and today we are going to talk about avoidance of conflict or avoidance of confrontation. It's pretty common to find at least one person in a relationship who is pretty good at avoiding conflict. Now, a lot of times people think that conflict is a really negative thing. So when you tell them they're an avoidance of conflict person, they'll usually say, yeah, I don't like conflict. It's a good thing. I don't get argumentative. I don't scream and yell. I don't fight. I don't get mean or angry. And they think that that's a really good thing. And it is. However, avoidance of conflict means that they will do whatever is possible to not even get in a situation where any kind of disagreement could possibly lead to an escalation of anger or frustration or annoyance or confrontation in any way. So a lot of things that can end up happening is that they're never bringing up problems that really should be worked on. That they also might be in the habit of pretending everything's okay when it's not. They could also tell some lies. Even big ones can happen because there's a fear of, if I bring this up or if I tell the truth, it could cause a bigger issue now, or I could just wait and see if they never find out, then we'll never have to I'll take that chance of them never finding out so we never have to actually address it. And avoidance of conflict people can also use humor to mask issues or to diminish topics that need to be discussed. Now, humor is really good and it should be used in a lot of situations where we need to diffuse anger and frustration, but it should never be used to deflect or avoid actually having the conversations. It is important to note that they tend to keep their opinions and their voices to themselves and their own needs to themselves. So where this might come across as seemingly somebody very easy to get along with and easy to deal with, it also is somebody who might be subconsciously or consciously developing some resentment, feeling like they're sacrificing their own needs, which could eventually lead to a lack of intimacy or a loss of intimacy and some distance between the two of you, if not a complete breakdown of the relationship itself. So as you can imagine, this is a bigger deal than it seems like it is on the surface. When we disagree with each other and have effective conversations about the things that we don't agree on, it actually can create a great amount of respect, closeness, bond, intimacy. So dealing with somebody who is quite the avoidance of confrontation or avoidance of conflict person can be very difficult because their cues are very subtle. So because they're not going to bring up issues and they're not going to talk about the things that are bothering them, you have to be very aware of subtle cues that they might give you, such as a shift in body language, a change in their facial expressions, a change in the tone of their voice, or even other erratic behaviors that seem to be a little bit off. So people who will avoid confrontation might take it out in other ways, like pull away a little bit more, spend more time by themselves or away from the house or away from you. Now, they may not even know why they're doing this, so give them some grace here. Some of the ways to help a partner who has avoidance of conflict or habits of avoiding conflict can be to really create a safe space for them. And what I mean by that is helping them to feel like they can come to you with what they want, with what they need, what's important to them, and the things that they would like to see different, or any sort of disagreements or contrast that they might have that is different than what you have. And you can do this by being sure that when they do come to you with any issue at all or open up to you, that you handle it with a great amount of compassion and a lot of listening. So genuine curiosity is going to be very important. Being sure that that curiosity is laced with a heavy amount of compassion is going to make things a lot easier for your partner to open up to you, to come to you, and to share their thoughts and their feelings that might be different from yours, and the needs that they have in the relationship that might not be being addressed or fulfilled. So a really good way of helping them to open up is to, first of all, be sure that you guys are in a calm, quiet, non-distractive place where you both can feel very relaxed. Then you'll want to ask them if they were truly bothered by something earlier and that you'd really like to know their side of it, or that you were really curious about their take on a certain situation where you thought that maybe they could feel a little bit different about it than you did. Now, avoidance of conflict people can be hard to detect because there is the possibility that somebody might just literally be very easygoing and not have many disagreements or many contrary opinions to you. You guys might just really agree on things. So be cautious to not go looking for trouble where there isn't any. We have to ultimately believe our partner when they tell us that everything is fine. So if you believe that you might be the avoidance of conflict person in the relationship, you might want to check in with yourself. Are you bringing up issues when you need to? Are you telling yourself in your head, when they say something that you don't agree with, oh, it'll be fine, I don't need to speak up, I don't need to press my opinion. If you feel like your opinion is not going to be valid, if you feel like it's going to cause conflict or might cause anger or frustration or hurt in the other person, and you find yourself doing that on a fairly regular basis, you might be the avoidance of conflict person in your relationship. So if you are the avoidance of conflict person in your relationship, obviously being aware of that is number one. And secondly, if you feel like you are not addressing topics, especially reoccurring problems or reoccurring topics that are important to you and that you feel like you would like to have changed or see something different with it, then you might need to sit down with your partner, ask them if it's a good time to talk about something. Maybe preface it by saying, this is hard for me to talk about. It's hard for me to speak my mind about this, but I'd really like you to know my opinions on X, Y, and Z. So sometimes what can happen with avoidance of conflict is that they can hold it in and pretend like it's no big deal, it's no big deal. And then at some point they can blow up. So it's important to make sure that you are letting off the steam little by little so that we don't have a major explosion at some point. That's a whole nother topic. We can talk about it in another video.